delay to the computer glitch, but we're going to proceed. Mr. Parks is joining me. Mr. Koretz is not here yet. But we've got 2 items and a public speaker, and let's begin. This shouldn't take that long, so we can deny number 1. Mr. Sampson, thank you for your appearance. Come forward and let's talk about number 1, Madam Clerk.
Item 1 is a request from the Los Angeles World Airports for a re-exemption of 1 deputy general manager, 2, and re-exemption of 1 concessions manager.
Sampson.
Yes, sir.
Here representing the airport.
Yes, sir.
All right, so why are these positions necessary?
Councilmember Zahn, these are 2 critical positions in our revenue-generating departments. One is in portfolio management, primarily the real estate lease negotiation with the airlines and all our tenants. In addition to that, our commercial acquisition. The second position is in our concessions department, all the retails, food and beverage, rental car, advertising. So these are 2 critical positions.
How long have they been vacant?
About 6 months.
So who's been doing it for the last 6 months?
On one position, we have someone acting. On the other, we've been struggling, but we've been holding together.
So a deputy general manager, are they actually hands-on, or are they supervising other personnel that are doing the work?
It's both. There are high-level negotiations and some high-level acquisition. You may recall a few months back, we acquired the Park One property for $100-some million. And that type of high-profile negotiation this person will handle, but this person also will supervise under their supervision some other managers.
And the positions were held by individuals. Why did they leave those positions? Did they promote? Did they quit? Did they throw in the towel?
No, one moved to seek another position within the department. The other reverted to an old position they held.
Okay, and what's the salary on these 2 positions?
On the concessions manager, it's a range of 116,000 through 116 to 144. The deputy general manager, the range is between 150 to 186,000 dollars.
Why don't you apply for one of those?
I'm happy where I am.
You're probably over 186 then, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Sampson, that's good.
Thank you.
I know Sampson, he's a good friend. Mr. Parks?
No, he'll tell me later what his weights is later. He doesn't want you to know. No, I have no question.
Okay, so we'll approve the re-exemptions for these 2 positions. And how are you doing on staffing otherwise?
We're doing well. We too are suffering like every other business. We're using attrition to right size, but otherwise we're holding up well.
Okay, give my best to Gina Marie.
We'll do that.
So you can go take the 405 back and fight traffic while we sit here and listen to the next case.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. You're welcome, Sampson. Good seeing you again. All right, that's done. Number 2, please.
The city administrative officer has submitted a report along with the mayor and a motion, and this has to do with an application to the State Office of Homeland Security for the 2007-08 Regional Catastrophic Preparedness Grant Program and staffing related to this program.
Okay.
The Public Safety Committee has recommended approval of the recommendations contained in the CAO report.
Thank you. I think the Public Safety Committee, which I sit on, had some questions. Have we resolved those issues, ladies?
That's correct. Melissa Fleming with the CAO. The questions you're referring to, is that related to the staffing associated with this particular project?
Yes.
There, in the CAO report, as described, there's 15 positions associated with this particular project. Subsequent to public safety, the CLA, the CAO, Mayor's Office, LAPD, the Fire Department, and EMD got together to discuss the optimal staffing associated with this grant program. And everything is continuing as discussed in the CAO report with one exception. In the report, the fire department had 5 existing positions that are associated with this grant program, and we're requesting authority for 2 new positions to be associated with the grant program. And we've discussed that situation with them, and the department has agreed that to utilize just the 5 existing positions, their existing resolution authority positions for the grant program, and they will no longer or will not dedicate 2 additional positions to the program at this time.
So they're going to go back to the field.
They're going to go back to the field, that's correct.
We're joined by Councilmember Paul Flores at this time. The other question was the general fund that's going to help supplement the match, $862,511. Has that been set aside, or is that coming out of reserve, or what?
The $862,000 associated with the match are going to be provided using existing budgeted general fund dollars, and those are going to be provided utilizing the bulk of it from fringe benefits of existing general fund positions that are going to be dedicated to this program that have already been budgeted for, and the remaining balance of about $180,000 associated with the match is going to be provided by existing positions in the emergency management department who are going to dedicate a portion of their time to the grant program. So we're not requesting any additional appropriation for this particular grant, but there is an impact to the general fund.
And if the general fund is $400 million in the wrong direction, does this add to that, or is that just part of that?
It does not add to that in the fashion that we're using the existing funds dedicated, I guess, for emergency management. It does not change that number that you are quoting as far as the overall budget.
So it doesn't make it any larger than it is?
It does not make it any larger.
It doesn't make it any
It doesn't
smaller
make
either?
it any smaller either, no. We can wish.
Okay. It's the same. Mr. Parks?
Let me just ask, what is the cap rate that we're charging?
The cap rates for I believe it's based off of cap 31, the estimates we're putting on here. Are you referring, we're looking at both fringe benefit rates that are utilizing the cap as well as the Department Admin and Support and Central Services rate. So the Department Admin and Support and Central Services rate that we're utilizing for all these positions, I believe was estimated at $2.79 million for the positions associated with this.
And that's of the, what, $6 million grant?
So the $6 million grant is divided among the City of LA and various other Long Beach, Riverside, urban area partner jurisdictions. The city itself is getting $2.72 million.
Okay, but that whole 2.7 is not all cap rate. Some of that is salary or.
So I'm sorry, sir, I'm
just wondering, the cap rate, you said 2.7 is the entire cap rate, or is that the entire amount we get?
They're approximately equivalent. So the city is receiving $2.72 million of the total award that's going to be utilized for various projects within the city, and then that's funding now 13 positions, and the cap rate associated with those 13 positions is the $2.79 million.
Okay, then I'm confused. I always thought the cap rate was the overhead and the administrative cost and the central cost.
That is correct. The overhead for small departments, specifically the emergency management department, their cap rate is fairly significant. So it is, in effect, more expensive if you're looking at the cap rate for a small department. So their cap rate, I believe, is 150% for central services, as an example.
So I'm clear on that. I always thought that when you say 2.7, that's the amount we're getting in the grant, but a portion of that would be the cap rate.
I understand, I apologize. The particular grant itself does not allow the reimbursement of any central services or department admin and support, so they're not grant reimbursable costs. Okay. We calculated them simply as a potential impact to the general fund associated with the grant, but the grant itself does not allow the reimbursement of those costs.
Very good, thank you.
And of the remaining, the 272 that we received, the remaining is going to Riverside, urban area, Long Beach. Are they required to do a similar match from their general fund?
That's correct. When we distribute funds to all the jurisdictions in the MOUs that we're providing them, we are requiring them to meet the similar match. It's a 25% cost share, which is equivalent to a 33% match, and we're outlining to each jurisdiction. For example, if you receive $100,000, you have to meet the match of $33,000 or whatever those numbers work out to be. That's correct.
So Riverside's able to do that financially, and so is Long Beach.
So the other jurisdictions have agreed, yes, to meet the match associated with the acceptance of these funds. Long Beach specifically, you were mentioning, was originally beneficiary of funds in this grant program and dropped out associated with their inability to meet that match.
Oh, they're not in the,
That's correct. So they actually, more recently, I believe in June, came back and said, we can't meet the match, and please redistribute the grant funds to other jurisdictions.
so do we get more, or does someone else jump on board?
I believe the funds were redistributed fairly equally among the other 10 jurisdictions.
They
So
just-
we did get a little bit more,
They
yes.
just bump it up to each of
Correct.
the remaining?
That's correct.
Okay. Does this go to budget next?
Yes.
Did you want to waive it from there, or do you want to hear it a third time, or a second time?
Well, I think we have to, well, actually, we have at least 2 members that have not seen it. And so I think we can just send it through and we'll get on the agenda real quick, because Paul's seen it, I've seen it, but, and Greg's seen it on public safety, but Rosenthal and Weezer have not seen it.
Okay. Paul?
Yeah, I know it seems a little bit like a free lunch in terms of being able not to expend funds, but we're obviously bumping some activity that would have taken place with those budgeted funds. What ability are we losing by taking that funding away from something else?
That's correct. The fringe benefits portion would not have been dedicated specifically to another function, but specifically there are 3 positions in the Emergency Management Department. They are going to be providing to this grant program at roughly 50% of their time that would have been spent on general funded activities, as you are discussing. I can't speak directly to that impact to the department, but the Emergency Management Department is here if you'd like to have them discuss that impact.
If there's somebody here that can, I would
Emergency management, come forward, please.
ask that quickly.
Good afternoon. Anna Burton with the Emergency Management Department. The functions that, the positions that are directly funded through the grant will be definitely beneficial in terms of the projects within this grant, and they include mass care and shelter and points of distribution. We've already been working on the points of distribution through previous Homeland Security grants, so this will enhance what we already have in terms of facility plans for the dispensing of prophylaxis should we have a terrorism type event or public health emergency. What we're doing and using the personnel to actually enhance those plans, primarily about 80% of them are currently within the city of Los Angeles, so it's to our benefit to augment the planning to use those facilities should we have another type of event to distribute commodities in a catastrophic emergency. The primary program within this grant is the Mass Care and Shelter Plan. So given another catastrophic emergency, the need for shelters that we've seen recently, the program staff would be working on shelter plans for the city of Los Angeles proper, but this will actually allow us to work with jurisdictions outside the city of Los Angeles, outside the county, so that we can have continuous plans that are consistent with mass care and shelter throughout the Southern California region.
So I presume that the money that we're getting in this grant, we would be doing things that we would have wanted to be doing whether we had the grant or not.
Yes, sir. These were actual gaps that we saw in the city's planning and emergency preparedness process. So this will actually allow us and enhance our internal capabilities.
Thank you.
I have a community group in Tarzana that's putting together a program in the event of an incident, earthquake, terrorist attack, whatever, and they're looking for some assistance with that, equipment, supplies. Could some of this be used for that, or does emergency management have a program to help? They're doing it in conjunction with a hospital. To have like a triage if they need it that's remote from the hospital but coordinated in the event of a disaster in the valley.
Yeah, this particular grant does not allow for equipment purchases, but we are working directly with the Department of Neighbor Empowerment to work directly with the neighborhood councils, giving them guidance as to how they can individually purchase of equipment, if that's the group that you're speaking of. If it's specific to triage and medical, we can work with public health to see if they have any funds available to directly support that type of program.
Okay, if I can get your card, I'll have them contact you, and then maybe that'll expedite it, because
Yes.
they're putting together a nice program with the hospital. In the event the hospital gets overloaded, they want to take care of this within the community, distance away. So I thought it was a good idea. It just came up when we were talking about this. It just flashed that maybe some of that could be used, but at least your expertise. So I'll get your card, and then they can contact you, and
Yes, sir.
that's on your shoulders to take care of it from there. So do we have a motion, gentlemen?
So moved.
Is there public comment on this item?
No, there's not. Thank you for that, Ms. Z, but no.
Move the item.
All right, Mr. Parks? All right, there we go. It's done here. Thank you very much. I got 2 public comment cards now. One is for Thomas May. Public comment.
Good afternoon, Councilman. Thanks for giving me the time to speak. I just want to speak briefly. Currently, I'm a communications electrician supervisor. I've been with the city going on for 12 years, 4 years as a communications electrician, 5 as a senior communications electrician, and now I'm a supervisor in the mobile install section. We've met previously. And one of the things that has come to light recently, for many years, we've been unable as a series to transfer to DWP. Recently, under the mandate, that has been opened up. There are job openings in DWP for transfer for communications electricians. As a supervisor, I have been excluded from that based on the fact they are not taking reversions. The same goes for senior supervisors and seniors. I find that really unacceptable because now I'm actually locked in a position. I'm being penalized for actually promoting up through the rank, and now I'm locked into a position. They're not accepting any reversions for me. I cannot move up very far in my current stream. And when it comes to maybe a supervisor opening in DWP, I foresee that the communications electricians will protest that under the auspices that their possibility of promotion will be blocked by taking supervisors from the city. And their only path would be to leave DWP, come to the city to promote as a supervisor, and then move back. So I'm basically locked now in a position and unable to move. And I would like somebody, if possible, to look into the fact that DWP have put this restriction on, and I think it's basically grossly unfair to the communications electrician series, especially for those people that have decided to move on up through the ranks.
Have you taken this matter to your union?
I've spoken with Union President Victor Marrero, and we are going to address this with the business manager tomorrow. He'll be coming to Piper Tech, and it's also been passed on to our Human Resources Director. So,
You say reversion.
reversion means I can revert from a communications electrician supervisor through 2 steps back down to communications electrician. So that's the only recourse that's allowed me now, is to actually revert 2 steps down back from supervisor.
But you say, what are they blocking?
The-
They're blocking your ability to do that?
Yes, they basically, I submitted my resume to DWP, received an email from them saying, we are not taking reversions at this moment, so you're not, your application is not going to be considered.
Now, would they take you to cross the line?
As a supervisor, if there was a position open, there is not currently a position open. If there was a position open, theoretically, yes, that should be an open channel. But as I mentioned, what I foresee is that the communications electricians, through their union, IBEW18, will probably protest that because it will effectively block them now from promoting up through the series, because all the seniors and supervisors will come from the city.
No, what was their rationale?
I'm sorry?
What was their rationale?
They did not give any rationale at all.
What about the Civil Service Commission? Would it go before the Civil Service Commission?
I think we're going to, tomorrow, right? We're going to sit before them tomorrow and bring it to the attention of them also.
Okay, we'll do some research from our end to see what the issues are in the process. So, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Russ? Belnat?
Good afternoon, Russ Bellinat. I'm a lot like Greg May. I'm a supervisor, communication electrician supervisor. Water and Power on the transfer request specifically stated you had to be currently working in the position of communications electrician, which means that the people that worked very hard and became the lead men, the seniors that have all the knowledge, all the experience, hands-on people were also eliminated from putting in their resume. As you know, this disparity issue has been going on since about 87, 89, something like that. In 1988, LA City was making $10 more a week, 25 cents an hour than DWP. Since all of our financial problems over the last 20 years, they are now up. For me, as a supervisor, to drop down 2 levels, you go entry level to water and power, it's a 15% raise. To drop down 2 levels, it's a 15% raise. I'm getting penalized. I don't have the opportunity to go back and work with the tools. It makes it so anybody with merit can't even apply. And it's just an ongoing slap in the face of people, hardworking city workers that we do the public safety. They do the police cars, take care of the mountaintops, take care of all the radio and data communications for police and fire, and we can't even apply for a 15% raise, and it's promotional, and we've gone through this already. They didn't take transfers for 8 years because of a personality conflict of upper management on both sides. We had to fight to be able to get on the CE list because we were already as a CE or higher, and we had to prove to the Civil Service Commission that, or the Personnel Department, that the raise in pay made it a promotion. But we didn't get any of the promotional points because it was an open test. And we've been fighting this for years, and it's just getting worse. They just got a 3 1/4 or more raise October 1st.
No, that's what was scheduled, not necessarily what they received.
Well, that was the minimum. Yeah. So anyway, I'd appreciate any help you could give us.
Okay, Russ, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, no further comments?
Actually, I have one on the same subject. I just had lunch with an engineer who has worked for the city for just under 20 years and would like to transfer to DWP, and in the same circumstance that he would get a salary increase if he went to a lower level position, but DWP won't consider that.
Well, I know we've had a lot of issues with folks going to DWP, and the concern was it bleeds the other departments of their personnel. I didn't know they put restrictions in, but there is a disparity between the salary and benefits and the pension of city municipal workers in DWP, and it's been going for too many years. We've tried to correct it, and it's going to take a number of years to correct it, to bring some equity. So, but we are cognizant of that. But we will follow up on these 2 matters. So thank you. Any other items? Anybody? Okay, thank you very much. We're adjourned at 2:30.